Thank you very much, guys, for watching this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and if you could donate some of your money to the game makers, it will be kindly rewarded. You can find all the links below. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we got this piece here ready. What I want to do is basically this will be our low res mesh for now. What I'm gonna do now is a high res mesh. I just want to do the low res about at this point, so I don't it's not necessarily final, but it's definitely a base to work with when I finish. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna right click and click clone and set it to copy, and then I'll just go into my manage layers, and I'll just create a new layer called low res. It's gonna straight away hide it and freeze it, and just click back on the door. So now I have this piece here, but if I'll hide this and then hide my low res layer, I have another copy of that. So when I'm gonna be finished with my high resolution mesh, I'm just gonna go back into the low resolution mesh and just adjust it and match it a bit closer. As you can see, I just moved the stuff a little bit just to match it just a little bit more to the concept, but it's pretty much the same, to be honest. So, okay, next thing we're going to do is, now we're going to do the high-res mesh. So at this point, I just really want to make sure that my topology is quite clean, just so I can work without any problems in the future. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to create this little Babylon on top here. So I'm just going to move these up a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, there's quite a lot of pieces in this door that might need to be extruded and stuff, so just need to make sure that they're all present. So now we have to go here. So I still, when I can't see something, I just apply my little red shader back on that I've made earlier on. So just gonna move these up a little bit, and this one goes to the left. It doesn't have to match up 100%. As long as you get the general shape in there, it shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you just have to sacrifice the straightness, because otherwise it's just gonna create too many polygons. So in here, as you can see, it's a bit messy, but there's no other options, I guess. Well, I mean there is, but I just rather not waste too much time on that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna move these up here. So here we got this piece, and yeah, let's just apply the gray shader back, so that looks a bit more like it. I noticed this part here actually does have some sort of detail, so I'm just gonna have to create that one as well. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna move that like so, and that should be about right. Okay, so next thing to do is we're gonna start adding all this high resolution stuff. So as you recall from the TV tutorial, I hope you should remember that we're gonna smooth all that up. So first things first, let's make it let's give it some depth, because it's quite important. So we have this part extruded, but I must say we need everything extruded, because so I'm just gonna select all this edge that we extruded earlier, just delete that, and I'm just gonna select the outline and just drag it out, just so we have the entire piece extruded a little bit. And yeah, so we can start now. First thing, let's add this line here. So as you remember, we don't have to do the other side, we just have to do this side. So let's move these a bit closer to the middle, and let's make sure that we move all of it straight away, so we have the center point, so we don't have to worry about that later. And you see those polygons here, we can just delete them, because they'll be connected later to the other part, so just delete that. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and add this little piece here, so that will be first. As you can see, it kind of ends here, but it's actually not. It's there's two light sources in here. I'm guessing it's just light bulbs, so they kind of cover it. You cannot really see it really well, but that's the case, I believe. So just gonna make sure that these lines continue all the way up. So that's done, and now we're just gonna chamfer that little edge here. Not too much, just enough to give the detail. So let's have a look where else we have that same thing. So actually let's leave it like this, and then when we finish with all of those cuts, we're just gonna add chamfer to all of them at the same time. That way you'll have exactly the same lines. Just turn this off and add one more in here. There's also these small details that we have to add as well, so we're gonna have to do that in a minute. So just move that up. Yeah, the good part about these new tutorial series is that they're gonna be not edited in any way, so you're gonna just literally follow me through the whole thing and see everything I do. I mean, they might be a bit long, but I mean, it's definitely better than the previous ones when I cut out a lot of information because of the time and stuff. But now I believe on YouTube we can add unlimited amount of minutes in the video, so it shouldn't be a problem anymore. Okay, so now we're just gonna select those. This one, this one, this one, and that's it. And just loop them and chamfer them. So I believe that's thick enough. So yeah, it's quite a interesting thing because it's actually panels. They broke away. So what we have to do is actually let's make a chamfer a bit smaller. I'm a bit concerned about the thickness of that. So just about here. So yeah, we could do it two ways. We could extrude it in, but then it wouldn't be actually separate panels. So why don't we just delete those whatsoever? It becomes a bit trickier, but that way, kind of like you keep the actual thing how it should be. So let's just separate this piece and this piece off. So we now have two parts, just so it's a bit easier to work with. And just connect those two together. And yeah, as you can see, like we have a small problem that we have two edges here and just one here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna loop that. Actually, you know what? Let's do that for the whole thing. So let's just undo that a bit. So we're just gonna select all of those, these and these, and now we're just gonna shift drag again just to make this extra loop, and just select this one just everywhere, and we're just gonna move it a bit to the left. I'm just still trying to keep everything straight. That's quite a thing for me. I like to make sure that everything is straight. That way it's much easier to work with in future. So just to detach those two now. Doesn't matter which ones, just as long as they kind of break the point. So let's unhide those two and just work on these for now. Actually, let's just hide this actually, and yeah, so we now have just these two pieces. So as you can see, there's some sort of detail going on in here on top as well, so we're gonna add those. I'm not quite sure if it's supposed to be there or if it's like well, it doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure that all the details that are in the concept are present. So just gonna add this part. It doesn't have to be circular here, because we're gonna use Turbo Smooth and it will do the same thing. So just make sure that you have followed me on this one. You kind of like, when you'll work with Turbo Smooth a bit more, you'll figure out all these tricks yourself. So I'm just gonna select these edges here, extrude them out, and then one more time, and just weld these two. Yeah, it's a good thing we have symmetry as well. That way, you know, you won't have to do that much work. You just do one piece, and then we kind of like duplicate it to another part. So that's useful. Okay, so now we're just gonna select this here and bridge that, and same will go for the other side. And here we go. So now all we need to do now is we just kind of have to select these two and cap them. And you see you have these lines they over here, so we want to make sure that they continue all the way until the end on both sides. So that's pretty much done. So yeah, so now the most important part, we're just gonna have to smooth that part. Oh, actually, let's do this one first. So just the same way, bridge, this one a bit easier. Sorry, bridge, and these two cap. Yeah, usually use shortcuts for these, because you can, if you go to customize and preferences, you can actually set the short keys for all the stuff you want. You use quite often, but like just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna keep using the buttons. So we're gonna add edge here. We don't want any here. We want one here, 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 here. And we want one here and here. So let's turbo smooth that, see what's happening. So yeah, as you can see, it quite did a good job. Just quite concerned about this area here. So we need to add, I guess, another edge loop here and here. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's almost there. As you can see, the end did not weld. So we just have to do that quickly. So boom and boom. So that's done. And the bottom, we need to make sure that this edge is sharp. So we're gonna add edge loop here. Yeah, we want it as sharp as it can get. And then in here it's not as sharp, so we're just gonna add like this. Yeah, that looks quite right. Yeah, sometimes you think like, oh, you know, it doesn't quite look the same, but it's the material that like adds a lot of that extra to it. So what I usually do is I would just create a dark material with a lot of metallic speck on it, sort of thing, and just add it straight away there. And if it's turned to realistic. And maybe, like, another thing I do quite a lot is just add a little light in there just to see how the reflection capture and stuff. And make sure that light is using the scene lights. Another reason why I do this is because I want to see how the bevels work a little bit more, because as you can see they're quite sharp right now, and that a bit bothers me. So what I'm gonna do, usually the first part is always the hardest, so but yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just move those down a little bit. So you can actually better select loops, because it's gonna be a bit messy now, but you still can work with it. So just move those down. Another thing I noticed is this part here doesn't quite match the concept, so we're just gonna select all these and just move them quite a bit, and just add another edge loop here. This needs definitely moving. There's one edge loop is missing on the top here, and this one here is way too sharp, so let's just select this one and move it. And I'm trying to straighten things up straight away just to make sure that I don't have to do it again later. So now if we'll turbo smooth that, let's have a look what we got. I mean, as you can see, it's quite dense now, and I can actually get rid of one smoothing group. Actually, let's keep it at 2. Another thing, we have a little bit of a glitch in here, so let's fix that. So the reason is for that is because we need some extra geometry, I guess. Actually, no, what we need to do is we need to do this. So we just want to connect this here would connect these two and these two, and then we just want to get rid of that line and that line, that line and that line, because we want it to resemble the curve sort of thing. So just select those as well and just move it a bit up. Yeah, that looks way better now. Another thing I think we should do is do the same thing here, kind of clean it up a little bit, because this is not right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this, cut here and cut here, so just get rid of that edge and this one as well. I'm just gonna make sure that the topology, the flow of the polygons is a bit better. And then we'll just add those back in a second. So now you see it turned around, but the topology looks a bit better. So next thing to do is just get rid of, just add those edges back in. So we're just gonna add one here, and one here, and one here, and I guess here would be nice as well. Oh yeah, definitely, that worked really well. So if we deselect that, oh yeah, that looks really nice. As you can see, it's a bit thick. I actually think it's a bit thick, but like, you cannot really see how thick it is on a concept, but yeah, we're probably gonna have to scale it later on in the future, but for now it should work. Actually, I've made a mistake as well. We shouldn't have done this part here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all these polygons here and just delete those and just move those a bit to the center. So yeah, it doesn't look like much yet, but let's finish the whole door and see how it looks. Here we go, perfect. Alright, so let's continue. Now we want to do this bigger part here. So actually, let's finish with this one, because this one was a part of the same mesh. So let's just actually do this one really quick. This one will be much easier because it's literally just a box. So let's just quickly add the same kind of loops. So I want sharp angle here, here, here and here, here, top, bottom. I usually add extra loops just to make sure that it doesn't skew too much. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's working quite well, I think. You know, I'm thinking like about this piece here, because this part will cover it, so I don't think we should actually make this roundness going on, because it's just a waste of just extra topology that is not really necessary. So let's just straighten this up. Yeah, as I said before, really good that these videos are not edited, so you can actually see the process I'm going through. Okay, let's go ahead and start working on this part. Actually, let's detach it from the bottom as well, because these are quite big pieces. I want to work on them individually. So let's hide this. Yeah, and yeah, next thing to do is let's turn this off. Is to bridge those. If you notice, like, I never bridged the part inside, and that's the reason is because it doesn't weld really well when you do that. So what I do is I cap instead, and then I just go and cut these pieces in. And same for the bottom, a bit easier here. Bridge, cap. That's really good. Yeah, so let's go ahead and add those loops now. So first things first, let's go ahead and add this one. In here, I'm guessing there's something not welded. Yeah, sometimes you see if something like this going on when your loop doesn't actually finish, that means something isn't welded correctly. So what you want to do is just want to make sure that you go in and weld it. And just like this, just on a really small scale, and now we can go ahead and add it. Yep, you see now it's all correct. Just add these here. Doesn't have to be super perfect, as long as you kind of get the general idea of where the sharper corners will be. And don't make them too sharp, because when you'll bake your normal map, if you'll have too sharp, then they won't appear as well in the game, so that's something to think about as well. And we'll add one here, top, bottom, here, here. This is a bit simpler, the first shape, because of that little extrusion we made. It kind of made everything more complex, but in here it's quite simple. So let's just go ahead, just add my new shader to it, just have a look how it looks, and unhide everything. As you can see, we forgot this part, so let's just add one here as well. Yeah, that looks quite right, I think. Yeah, it looks much better now. Now, the thing is that with my lighting is that you see those dark shadows. I really don't like when there's really black things in the scene. It's actually like a thing you learn in art, really, is that you do not want anything black. So, and even though it's just a preview, I just don't want to see this black. So what I'm gonna do as well is gonna crank the white up a little bit, and just unfreeze everything, and just click on here, object properties. I just don't want it to receive shadows, and I don't want it to yeah, I think that's all. Just don't receive shadows, freeze that. I thought you could, yeah, you have to add it to the light, so you can actually make sure that this part here doesn't accept any light. So if we just go into exclude, and then unfreeze that again, sorry. Unfreeze. So I'm just gonna select this, and it's called background. And if we go into light now, and I'm just gonna exclude the background from the light. So now it shouldn't really take anything from the light, but for some reason it still does. Oh no, it doesn't. Perfect, I think. Oh no, it still does. Oh well, doesn't really matter. Just gonna leave it like it is, because we're gonna work in shaded mode, and in that mode it won't be visible anyway. So just go ahead back, and reference needs to be frozen, low res needs to be hidden. So yeah, so I cranked this light up a bit too much, I think, actually. Maybe just need a little bit down, I guess. And what I like is add a little bit of color to it. I like with Sci-Fi, like orange, red. They kind of work quite well. And then also what I want to do is I want to add a skylight, which will add like this extra definition. And this one should be blue, really. Yeah, now you see all your shadows gone normal color. That's pretty much how it should look in the game. Now, the skylight is a bit annoying when it's rendered in the viewport, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another Omni light instead. Usually I use skylight, but it's only for final previews. It's just crank this intensity down a bit, maybe to like 0.4, and just make it blue. Yeah, that will do. Yeah, so now you can really well see. And another thing I think is the diffuse for the material could be a bit darker. It just makes this really nice metallic sort of look. Alright, at this point I'm gonna save, just to make sure that I don't lose anything. So if I'm going to my Scifi Coridor, I'm gonna strip the working, or something like that, doesn't really matter. And here I'm gonna make a new folder and call it door 01, because there's so many things inside that door, so we're gonna break it down into pieces. So, and then we're gonna call this door 01 max. That's pretty much it. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish that up. So next thing is this part. So we're gonna go back to shaded mode again, and I'm gonna add my red again. And in here there's quite a lot of small detail like this part here and this little thing here, so we're gonna make sure that we add all those in. So let's go ahead and start adding those loops in. So one here, 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 here. I forgot the most important part now. So I'm gonna actually Control-Z all that because it's gonna be easier to redo them than. So yeah, so let's bridge those parts in here. Bridge and cap that, and now we can add those loops in. So let's go ahead and add those in. One here, here, here. Yeah, this area will be a bit trickier because you have this really tight mesh here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this manually a little bit and just select this edge and just move it quite down, just like that. And yeah, I'm just gonna add this and do the same for the bottom. So we're gonna select this. So I'm just gonna deselect those now and move that up. Yeah, don't worry about this corner too much, but I still kind of want to make sure that it's not too destroyed, sort of thing. So I'm just gonna move that a little bit, and yeah. So let's put edge loop here now. What thing you can do is if you hold Shift and X and then you scale, it will scale according the other edges, so you can actually straighten things up that way. And add one here, 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 and here. And one more here. And let's add turbo smooth to it and add our material to it. And let's see what we got. So that looks okay, I guess. Needs extra turbo smooth, and we just forgot this part here needs edge loops as well. And yeah, as you can see, we forgot the edge loops here, which is important. So let's put those in. One here, one here. Yep, that looks quite right, I think. So here we go. This is the good start, I think. I quite like it. And yeah, just let's add those little pieces here, so it's like little black squares. Actually, kind of don't like the fact that they're quite symmetrical, but we'll add them both, and then we can also always get rid of one. So one thing I noticed is that this part here needs an edge loop as well. So let's add those. One here, 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 and here. It's quite not sharp, as you can see. I mean, needs a bit more sharpness, I think. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just add extra loop here inside, and it's still quite blurry. It's really weird. Let's add maybe extra loop here. See what that looks like. I guess it will do. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so now we have this part, and this quite sharp in here. Yeah, let's think. I think we need to add more loops here and here. It just bothers me a little bit. Yeah, that's much better. So now we're just gonna add just gonna move this loop here a little bit because it's a bit too sharp, and same here, it's way too sharp. So but we just need to move these here. And this one up. Yeah, that's good, I think. Okay, perfect. So now let's just add those little pieces here in the middle, and then we pretty much can wrap this one up. So there's one box here and one here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside and just straighten this up. Turn off the Shift X now. Straighten these up. What I do for straightening is I just use scale. I just scale it down, and it should scale into a straight line. Move that down. I think that will do. Same here. I guess there'll be some kind of pieces inside later on. So when we'll finish with the door, we will be able to actually put those in. So now we're just gonna have to extrude those. And one thing I recommend when you extrude is to just scale it down a bit, like once you extrude it, just scale it down a bit. It's just gonna add this extra definition in a normal map when you're gonna bake that. It's just gonna look more 3D. So just add loops. Okay, so now let's have a look. Yeah, as you can see, there's quite a lot of artifacts, so we need to fix that. I missed a loop here. It actually looks quite cool, but still don't really want those. I always like to follow the concept and not get myself distracted too much from it. So just gonna add extra loops inside now. One here. Yeah, that looks really messy now. And that's the problem. That's why I really like to keep things straight in the beginning. But no matter what, you will have that kind of topology when you do kind of these kind of complex pieces, I guess. But it's not a problem. As long as you've did everything right. Just make sure when you do high-res meshes, you first make sure that you block out things correctly, so you don't have to change a lot when you finished. So that's really good. I like that. And I think those could do with being a bit more closer to each other. I don't know why, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I'll just move this one a bit here. Just deselect that, like this. Here we go. That should look much better. Another thing you can do when you turbo smooth is click isolate display. That way it will display only the vertices that you have originally, but that might screw up in the end, so I just rather keep it like this. Okay, so now we're done with this, and let's go ahead and build the other parts. So first thing I want to do is I want to make sure there's no turbo smooth on anything right now, because I'm going to merge all these together. So I'm just going to delete all that turbo smooth from everywhere. And I'm going to just click attach and just attach those pieces in together. So now we have everything connected, and yeah, now we're just gonna, we have this middle point here, so we're just gonna have to add symmetry to it and just try to get it right in there in the middle. But you can also reference a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, I actually fitted really well. I really like how it worked. So now we can turbo smooth that. I guess 2 will be nicer. And here we got the first little piece. As you can see, this didn't weld really well, so what we're going to do is we're going to just select those edges. As long as you don't convert up to symmetry, you can always come back and edit the individual piece, so just move that a bit. And here we go. This is the start, and I really like where it's going. So yeah, so next video I'm going to start going on the floor, and also we're going to soon gonna edit the low res for this. I mean, what I do want to do with this is that I usually would just go ahead and bake this down, but because the door has so many pieces inside, I don't really know how much geometry I will invest into this first mesh and how much I will add into the another one. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna do the floor, and after that we're gonna continue on the door. I just want to make sure that we have block out for everything. One thing I quickly noticed is this piece here just needs a bit of scaling. I don't like the fact that it's so square. I really find like when you make stuff, try not make squares. It's not something that like visually interesting. And also there's like this here, but it's not there. So, but I'm gonna add it to both sides. It's just gonna make it like a little square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add an edge loop. Just gonna move this up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'll just leave it for now, and then we'll do it later on. But yeah, this is the first part of the door, and then we're gonna go from that and just go ahead and build the rest of the level. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and if you could donate some of your money to the game makers, it will be kindly rewarded. You can find all the links below. Thank you very much.